volume of a cylinder. The diameter of a cylindrical construction pipe is 3 feet. If the pipe is 12 feet long, what is the volume? Use the value 3.14 for pi and round your answer to the nearest whole number. Be sure to include the correct unit in your answer. So there was kind of a lot of information there. So first we're going to be finding the volume of a cylinder, number one. And a cylinder looks like a pipe or a can or something along those lines. So it has two circular bases, one bottom and one top, and then a tube, basically. So in order to find the volume, we need to have this equation here, which they actually give you right down here. So this is the volume of a cylinder. So we found the volume of a rectangular prism earlier, and I'm going to kind of draw a rectangular prism really quick here. So this is what a rectangular prism looks like, right? Something along these lines. Mine's not too terribly great there, but ignore this little line. I drew that a little too tall. So rectangular prism is a box, basically. And the way you find the volume of a box is length times width times height, which we can convert all prisms. It doesn't matter if it's a cylinder or I'll say, because it's not necessarily prism, but a cylinder, a rectangular prism, or other prisms that have different shapes on the bottom. So this is called a rectangular prism because it has a rectangle base, but you can also have a triangular prism or a hexagonal prism. Whatever shape the bottom is kind of how you name the prism. So all prisms, when you do the volume, is base times height. And I use a big capital B because what this means is it's the area of the base. So if you can remember base times height, all you have to remember is the big B means area of the base. So now all you have to do is convert this a little bit so that, oops, didn't mean to put a pencil mark there, that it matches whatever shape it is you're trying to do. So we're not doing a rectangular prism right now. We're doing a cylinder. So in this case, we have something like this, and it goes across. And let's see if I can draw that slightly nicely. Okay, so this is somewhat like what they're showing over here in the picture. So if we think of the circles as the base, so if this was a pipe and we actually stood it up, we'd have a top and a bottom. So there'd be a circle on the bottom and a circle on the top. Those are the bases. And so when I'm talking about base times height, what I want to know is the area of that shape. So in order to find the area of a circle, you need pi r squared. That's how you find the area of a circle. And then in order to convert it to volume, we would take this area and we would multiply it by the height. So volume simply becomes pi r squared h, because we have to multiply by h. So we converted this into this formula that they're giving us over here. And this can kind of be manipulated, this base times height, to become any one of these shapes that we're going to be going over in the next week or so. I think it's going to take us a couple weeks to get all through these. So what we want to do is plug in what they're giving us. So in this case, they're giving us 3. The whole line is 3. So if it's going from side to side, we call that a diameter. And they told us the diameter of the cylindrical construction pipe is 3 feet. So we know that the diameter is 3 feet. Well, we want just the radius. So if we cut this in half, and I'm just drawing a line there, then we have a radii and a radii. So what we want to do is for just one radius, we just divide by 2. So we have 3 divided by 2. That gives us a radius. And then we consider this the height, because remember, it's kind of like it's laying down on its side. So we have 12 feet here. So now we would just take this and we go volume equals pi times r, which is 3/2 squared, and then times 12 for the height. So then volume equals pi. When you square it, make sure you square the top and the bottom. So you'd have 9/4 times 12. And when you're multiplying a fraction, this is the top, so you put a 1 on the bottom. So you can multiply straight across the top. So you have pi times 9 times 12. And they do actually allow us a calculator on this one. So we have 9 times 12 equals, and we get 108/4. And then I'm going to go divided by 4. And we get volume equals pi times 27. So the last step is just multiply by pi. Now remember, they asked us to use 3.14. I've been writing pi just so that I didn't have to write 3.14 over and over again. But we do want to multiply by 3.14 when we put it in the calculator here. Times 3.14 equals, we get 84.78. And they wanted us to round to the nearest, what did they say? The nearest whole number. So for this one, if we want to round to the nearest whole number, which is this 4 here, we need to look at the 7. If it's 5 or bigger, we'll round up. If it's 4 or less, then the decimal just drops off. But in this case, it is bigger, so we round this up to a 5. And then it was feet. Because it's volume, it's cubed. And the reason I want you to keep cubed in mind is each one of these 3/2 had feet on it. So we had feet times feet for the square, and then 12 also has a feet on it. So just like if we had x times x times x, we'd have x cubed like that. Same exact thing for this one. We have feet times feet times feet, so we end up with feet cubed. All right. So I'm going to take those over just a little bit here. All right. So let's go ahead and scroll down here just so that we can see. So they also have 85 feet squared, or cubed. Sorry, I almost said squared. Okay, so I'm going to erase this and we're going to actually try one out here. And let's see, what do we need to do for the next one? Okay, so I'm going to really, the only thing we're worried about, we don't really need all the rest of this stuff. I'm only worried about volume equals pi r squared h. So it doesn't really matter. We don't really need the rest of it. That was just more of my explanation to get to pi r squared h. All right, so I'm going to use this marker so that it's a little thicker than the pencil there. So when we're looking at this one, it tells us that we have a grain silo has a cylindrical shape. Its radius is 8 feet. So I know its radius is 8 feet, and the height is 44 feet. So h is 44 feet. So we're given that information. So we're just going to start plugging in. Volume equals pi r squared. Remember, each one of these has feet and feet, so I already have feet squared. Times 44, another feet. So at the end, that's why it's going to be feet cubed. I have feet times feet times feet. 3 feet means feet cubed. All right, so we have pi times 8, or 8 squared is 64, times 44 equals pi times, all right, let's go, 64 times 44 equals 2,816. And then we multiply by 3.14 because they asked us again. Down here in the instructions, they do tell you to use 3.14 for pi. All right, so we end up with 8,842. And they also want us to round to the nearest whole number. So if I look at the next number here, it's 0.2. So that tells me it's just going to drop off. And then we write feet cubed. All righty, so we have 8842 feet cubed. Okay. It also may correct you if you don't put the comma in there. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just improper without the comma. All right, next one. So let's go ahead and switch colors here. So with this next one, it says we have a diameter. The diameter of the cylindrical water tank is 9. So remember, we want radius. The diameter has 2 radii in it. So we simply just go 9 divided by 2 to get our radii. And then it says it also has a height of 8 feet. And remember, these are all feet. Okay, so now we're just going to start plugging it in. So we have volume equals pi times radius, which is 9/2, squared times 8 for the height. So equals, and we don't really have to write it out as far as I did. I wrote all these steps, but you can go 3.14 times, and I'm going to put parentheses in here, 9 divided by 2 squared, oops, 2, and I have to put the out arrow, or make sure you click out here so that when you do this, it's the whole thing, and then click squared, and then times 8. So as long as we type it in here correctly and we hit equals, this is the end answer. We don't necessarily need to work it out one little piece at a time. So we have 508.6. 6 is bigger than 5. So I know that means that this is going to round up to 9. And again, I'm going to have feet cubed. All right, let's close this. And we have 509 cubed. Check. And there we go. All right, one more. Okay, let's flip it to orange. Yeah, orange is good. All right, so we have a diameter of a cylindrical construction pipe is 6 feet. So we have the diameter is 6 feet. So that means for radius, I'm going to take the diameter and divide by 2. So in this case, I actually get 3 feet. I'm not going to have a fraction. And then it tells me that the pipe is 35 feet long, which is another way of saying height, because we always think of it standing up. So this is a pipe, it's laying down on its side. If we stand it up, that would be the height. All right, so we get volume equals pi times r, which is 3 squared times 35. So volume equals, and we're just going to multiply all of it together just like we did a minute ago. So 3.14 times 3 squared times 35 equals, so we get 989.1. Since that's only a 1, it's just going to round down, and this is feet cubed again. It shouldn't be such a big cube, so it should be a smaller 3 like that. All right. 99. Feet cubed. Check. All right, so we finished another one.